Okay, here's a little tip for your radio control enthusiasts. I started working on this little 3D printed box that I made, and I'm trying to get all my electronics in here, which is actually going to control 4 channels, and there'll be 4 channels that'll be external to the box. So channels 1 through 4 are going to the outside world to run both motors and the camera pan and the rudder. Inside the box we'll have electronics to run lights and so on. And what I'm going to be doing is putting these polo loop circuits in, and basically they're servo or channel operated relays, so I can switch on different voltage. And then I've got one for a siren, and one that's going to be going to a blinking circuit, and so on. So basically I have 4 of these devices I'm going to be running to. When I ordered cables, I ordered a bunch of cables here, thinking that, okay, I'll get, out of a bunch, a good price. So I just pick out 4 of the shorter ones, and I'll use those internally. But I found out that the receiver has pins in it, so I need to have a female end of the cable there. And when I looked at the relay, it also has pins on it, so I need a female on that end. So conventional connectors and conventional cables are out. So my option was to actually look for cables that had females on both ends. It would be something like this, as opposed to something like that. I also had another problem. Was not only the connectors on both ends had to be female, but they should have been of various lengths. So I've color coded them so that I'll know which one goes where, because I've got a list on my schematic. But rather than use all of these cables that are all the same length, I was having problems getting from here over to the last one. I wasn't quite long enough. My option would be to go to the next size cable, and that next size cable got to be too long. Rather than buy cables that are female to female of a short length, and generally they're come in multiples of maybe 4 inches to 8 inches to 12 inches, something like that, and I needed something in between because I got a tight fit in here, I decided to custom make them. So I took one of the longer cables. I ordered a set from, there we can see up here, it's kind of pulled apart, but it's got all of the male and female pins and the housings, and for the male pins, the cover that slides over them snaps in place. So I cut one of the cables apart, and take, for instance, here is my white one, the gray one, blue one, and yellow one. As I said, at least one of these is too short, maybe 2 of them, and another one is too long. So rather than do that, I made my own cables using that kit and cutting one of the big servo wires apart. So here's the white one. You can see the difference in length. And here's the gray one. It's a little bit shorter. And here's the blue one, which is longer. And here's the yellow one, which is a little bit shorter. And these should all route right in here without a lot of cabling hanging around and trying to stretch them. So this is a tip. If you want to custom make your own cables, you can buy long servo cables, or you can buy the cable wire itself, cut it all up, make a configuration. You can make Y cables, or you can make cables that actually, say, had one channel was operating 3 servos, so you'd have one connected branching out to 3. It could be male to male, female to female, male to female, etc., and whatever length you want. You could also have it so that if you had a hole in a bulkhead and you didn't want to have a giant hole so that that connector could fit through, so you could feed that cable through, you could drill it close enough for the wires to fit through the hole, slide your servo cable in with one cable connector cut off, use that kit, come back here and solder the connector back on right onto the wires rather than have to do any wire splicing and insulating. And you'd have a neater insulation. Once you get the servo kit, the wire, you're set to go.